It's the 7th of November 2003. Jagex no longer makes their limited time holiday items tradable. Now, if you miss it, you can't just buy it from someone else. The second non-tradable holiday item, a scythe, was dropped for the last time just days ago, just in case people didn't get one during the Halloween event the week prior. But even with this extra drop, not everyone was lucky enough to get one. Now, all of the old holiday items are already worth quite a pretty penny. Since you can't get them anymore, they're quite the collector's item. So, some people start thinking, if you could somehow sell the scythe, how much would it go for? Maybe it would be worth even more than the most expensive item in the game, a pink party hat. One unscrupulous player, 6 feet under, starts experimenting. He's determined to find a bug that can let him sell a scythe. While lots of players dreamt of finding such a loophole, 6 feet under had an advantage. Just a day before, on the 6th of November, his friend Kiteneeks had launched an updated version of a cheating tool, AutoRune. As part of the update, it now included an auto trader, and as the program directly interfered with the RuneScape client, 6 feet under had high hopes that they could trick the server in just the right way to pull it off. So, using 2 game clients, he set to work. But it wasn't promising. No matter which way he approached the problem, the game wouldn't let him add the scythe to the trading window. But he did notice something else. He'd tried messing around with adding things by their item ID to the trade window. He tried coins and runes to no avail. But when he tried entering a rune two-handed, he noticed something odd. Nothing showed up on his screen, but it did show up on the other screen. Weird. Naturally curious, he accepted the trade, and the other account received the weapon. 6 feet under may not have found out how to trade scythes, but he found something with far more potential. A cheat that could let him spawn any item, and as many of them as he wanted. This could only end well. Hello RuneScape, Wilmacid here with a new video, and how is everyone doing? The Partyhat Duplication Glitch is one of the most famous incidents in the history of the game, and it's not hard to see why. While big dupes have happened since and still happen to this day, there's so much money in the economy that it hardly makes a dent. Back in 2003, that definitely wasn't the case. After some fiddling with item IDs, 6 feet under has now spawned several expensive items. Christmas crackers and party hats of all colors, holiday items from years gone by, and rare dragon equipment, strong and sought after weapons, and armor that many lost to get. It turned out he couldn't spawn in stackable items such as coins, but let's be real, he didn't need to. In his excitement, he shares the glitch with some of his friends, Kiteneeks, who made AutoRune, and also the players Dialogue, Gon, Aid, and David. Together, they all start creating items, generating countless numbers of unobtainable items, worth more than they could ever hope to spend. And with the average player none the wiser, all they had to do was keep it quiet, and they would be able to make billions off of the exploit. Anyway, one of them can't keep a secret, and before they know it, news of the bug spread like wildfire through the community. Now, AutoRune was at the time a privately held script. Though it had been sold a handful of times over the past 12 months, it wasn't commonly available. And most of the places claiming to have a download for it were just handing out free keyloggers. So, as players were racing to download the cheat client and spawn in items, most of them just ended up getting hacked and losing their account and/or items. It's almost like trying to download cheating programs for RuneScape is a bad idea. Those who did own the client, however, started making bank. Now that Christmas crackers weren't rare, their creators would just stand around and crack them on random players just because they could. These random players would run off and sell the resulting party hats for massive profit before running back to the bug abuser in hopes of getting even more. As there weren't many servers available in 2003, it didn't take long before the news of the bug reached every player who was paying attention to the game. Varrock filled up on every available world. Of those hundreds of players, many tried to panic sell their beloved holiday items before they crashed in price. And just as many others stood around begging for people to use illicit Christmas crackers on them. Party hat owners tried to sell them as fast as they could, but the loss was still immeasurable. And by immeasurable, I mean they went down from a price tag of 14 million gold to just 50k in matter of hours. Mad with power, other rune users start making other items as the party hat prices drop harder than Gregorevic's beats. Silver bars, ores, dragon equipment, Halloween masks. If it still had a value, they were being made and sold until they didn't. Meanwhile, all hell is breaking loose at Jagex. Funnily enough, by the time the whole player base knows something, they do too. By the time that Varrock falls to chaos, they're well aware that players are generating wealth in an extreme fashion. Hundreds of discontinued items are appearing on accounts, seemingly out of thin air. But here's the problem. Jagex have no idea how it's happening. They didn't know how the auto-rune script worked. Hell, they didn't even know that auto-rune was being used at all for it. Drawing blanks, they put out a quick statement early in the afternoon. Hey guys, good day, huh? How wild is that duplication glitch? Hey, none of you would happen to know how it's done, right? Not even if we offered you some lifetime membership? Also, don't take any items from the bug abusers. We're taking action against any accounts found to have stolen goods. Drop them or we'll ban you. Okay, thanks, bye.
Andrew, will you subscribe to We'll Miss It?
Just as quickly as they'd entered the game, the stolen items quickly left in large numbers as fearful players dropped them scared of their accounts being terminated. It became common to walk past a field of party hats and crackers on the ground with no one picking them up, as everyone was terrified of potential jammod action. Others tried to keep selling their ill-gotten goods, but there was just one small problem with that. With hundreds abandoned on the floor around them, they were going to sell the party hats to who, exactly? As this was going on, Jagex's little call to action had worked. Just like whenever I make a call to action about subscribing to this channel. Buttons down below. Just 2 hours later, they already had 600 messages from players wanting to help. And from that, it didn't take long for Jagex to patch it. Now, we know they did reward some players for this, but all the other sources say everyone got banned. So let's say they rewarded the first player to come forward and they threw the other 599 in the trash. Job done. With that out of the way, it was time for Death's drum kit. Repercussions. Jagex started scouring through the servers for any player who had a suspiciously large haul of expensive items. Those with an unnatural number of discontinued items were banned instantly, alongside any of their side accounts, accounts that they had logged into, and the accounts of the pizza delivery guy. Almost every single account who had either created or stored a large number of these items were banned. But since Jagex couldn't actually tell a real party hat from a fake one, there was no way to tell if someone with only 1 or 2 hats were legit or a filthy cheater, so most of them were left alone. Bet anyone who dropped their one and only hat out of fear really kicked themselves over that one, huh? Only 24 hours after the bug was initially found, Jagex released a second statement claiming that the number of party hats in-game was still fewer than the number there had been a year prior, and rejected the idea of rolling back the game, saying it would be an overreaction. Despite this claim, it took 11 months for the prices to once more start resembling what they did in November 2003, and there was already a clear shift in the values. The pink party hat, today called a purple party hat, went from being the most expensive party hat to the least expensive. It wasn't until 2020, a whole 17 years later, that the purple party hat passed its brothers in cost and was no longer the cheapest party hat in the game. During the evolution of combat beta in 2012, a test was conducted to check the drop rate of the different party hats from a Christmas cracker, and found the red party hat to be the most common and the purple to be the rarest, closely reflecting the cost of the various versions in 2003. Mod Ash later confirmed these rates. It's kinda crazy to think that out of all the party hats still in the game today, a large number of them may have been spawned in by 6 feet under and his dastardly friends, and that people are paying billions upon billions for cheated items from accounts that Jagex had overlooked on their witch hunt. Although with how long they've been in the game now, even those fake party hats deserve to be considered a rare. Also, you've gotta love how we remember this as the Partyhat Duplication Glitch when it wasn't a glitch and they weren't duplicated. I guess people just really like the name. Thank you all so much for checking out this brief snippet of RuneScape history with me. I'll see you again next week as we crack on with another exciting story. Until then, my name is Will Miss It, and goodbye.